Hello, I'm Martin Fencka and welcome to the first episode of another of my Civilization V Vox Populi series. So as usual, because this is the first episode, it's gonna be more like an introduction. We'll check all the mods that I'm gonna be using, then we'll check all the map settings, the civilization that we're gonna be using, and I'll show you 3 different starting locations and let you decide which of them we're gonna be using for this series. Because this time I'm starting a new series on Friday. We'll have one more day for voting, so we will have today and the whole Saturday to vote. And as usual, the voting ends when episode 2 is released. And with the release of the second episode, I will make all of the initial save files available for you if you want to play with me. So let's start talking about the mods. I decided to keep exactly the same mods that I used for the previous series, even though we know it's bugged. There are some fixes, but every fix brings different problems. One is unstable, another one has like bugged city states. So in the end, I decided to keep the version where the bug is like most predictable and I can play around it. We just won't have bombers. It will make warfare in the late game more difficult. That just means we have to snowball hard enough before that happens. We'll have to basically rely a lot more on artillery, I guess, in the end. It makes the game more difficult, but I will compensate for that a little bit with the save that I decided to play. And you probably already know who is it gonna be because you can see the thumbnail. It is probably gonna be a surprise for like many of you because I didn't mention this name at all when I was talking about possibilities for the series. But I'll talk a little bit about my reasoning why I decided to go with this choice when we get to talking about all the settings. And of course, as usual, the links to these mods will be in the description of the video. So if you want to download it, if you want to play with me, make sure you are using the right versions of these mods. But as I said, links will be there, so it shouldn't be a problem. Now, to all the settings. Advanced, there we go. We're gonna be playing as the Shoshone. I will talk about them after I go through all the map settings. We will be playing on a standard Pangea with the standard number of opponents, standard number of city-states, all of the other settings, except for, I think, world age. I think I set the world age to 5 billion, but everything else should be as standard as possible. And then for advanced game options, I hope the game kept everything as I set it. Disable starbase, yep. No events, of course. No research agreements. This time we are going with ancient ruins because Shoshone. So this is the only series ever, I think, that I'm gonna be playing with ancient ruins. For me, Shoshone stand like outside of the pack of the other civs. Actually, there are 2 civs that stand outside. Like you have the pack of all the civs, then you have Venice that's outside of the pack because how specific Venice is, and then for me, I have Shoshone outside as well because they can manipulate the game RNG of the ancient ruins. And that makes them incredibly strong if you get enough ancient ruins. So for all other saves, you have 2 layers of RNG when it comes to ruins. You get the first layer, how many you get, how they are generated, on where they are generated on the map. And then the second layer is what you get from those ancient ruins. If you are really lucky, ancient ruins can help you snowball, but most of the time it just helps one of the AIs that gets lucky. With Shoshone, you remove one of the layer of the RNG, so it's just about how many ancient ruins we find, but then we decide what we take from them. And that's incredibly powerful. And I'm hoping that just this one thing will help us to snowball hard enough so that the problem later with the bombers won't be as relevant, that we will be like far ahead enough at the time that bombers won't even be needed. So that's why we're going with Ancient Ruins. No bad events, specific events. Yeah, that's the same thing over and over again. Neutral, no tech trading, tech brokering. Of course, quick combat and movement, raging barbarians, and transparent diplomacy. As you can see, everything is pretty standard except for those Ancient Ruins. City-states, yeah, so all that is covered. And when I was talking about the Ancient Ruins, I basically also explained why I decided to go with Pocatello here. Once again, I think thanks to the Ancient Ruin part of our unique abilities, we have incredible potential to snowball early enough, and then with other unique abilities and units that we have, just keep the snowball rolling, so that when we encounter the bug in this version, it won't be as relevant. For many other saves, you can fight a little bit from the let's say classical era through the other eras, but the really strong enemies can be taken down safely when you can rely on your bombers. When we don't have that, I really wanted to take someone who can snowball hard enough before that, and yeah, I think Pocatello is the save. So, that's also a reason why I was always avoiding Pocatello before, because he just seems broken to me and impossible to really balance. As long as there is the Ancient Ruins ability, it's just you can't balance that. But maybe now, when there is a bug, it's a time to compensate for a bug with another thing that for me feels broken. But enough talking. Let's jump into the game. So 3 starting locations. There we go. Number 1. And before we talk about that, let's talk about all of the unique stuff. So Great Expanse. Founded cities start with additional territory, and land units receive a combat bonus when fighting within their own territory. All recon units can choose rewards from Ancient Ruins. So yeah, we started cities with the borders pushed a bit farther away, so it's easier to position the cities, so we get a good start. Because all of the extra territory, the bonus for fighting within our territory, it's not always defensive. We can push our territory far enough that we can threaten enemy cities from our own territory. So that's probably what we're gonna do early. Try to push our borders close to the AI and fight from our own territory to have the bonus. And of course, this one sentence just I don't know. I know that there will always be one save that can take advantage of Ancient Ruins in the Civilization series, but I never liked it. I really just feel it's just so broken potential if you get enough Ancient Ruins that I don't know. But it's there, so that's the second part. Then let's go with encampment, our unique improvement. An encampment can only be built on flat tiles, and no 2 encampments can be adjacent. So the usual thing with unique tile improvements, you can't have them next to each other, or at least that's true for most of the unique tile improvements. It provides additional food production and culture. We can see that on top how much it gives. Encampments provide a small defense modifier to units stationed on them. So that's another modifier that we get on top of the modifier from being inside of friendly territory. So we can get quite a few actually. Encampment the small defense modifier to units stationed on them, and damage nearby enemy units by 5. It's not much, but it's there, and with the right positioning, it can stack up that the enemy has to move to a tile that's next to 2 encampments, then it's 10 damage already. If you can combine that with like citadels, and suddenly just your terrain is doing a ton of damage. So we can definitely work with this. We can use it to our advantage during like difficult sieges. So yeah, definitely something that we can work with. If they end their turn next to the encampment, yeah, it can only be built in Shoshone territory. Surprise, surprise. Then Buffalo Pond. That's or pond, I guess, or pound. Pond. What is it supposed to be? Pond, I guess. That's what it's supposed to be. Available at Trapping, can be built anywhere, including cities with a watermill, and it's a well replacement, so it comes into play very early. +1 food for every 5 citizens in the city. A bison resource appears near the city, so we get a free bison, and bison itself is buffed by the building, so we have a guaranteed decent food tile once we build this. Plus, it gives +2 production. It gives the scaling food bonus. Overall, it's a pretty decent little building. It's a nice improvement over well. The fact that you can build it everywhere is quite important, that you can have cities on the rivers and still build watermill and this. That's great. So I kind of like it. It's not broken, but it's not. Well, it can be broken if it's in the right city, right? If you have horses, sheep, cattle, all of that stuff around the city and get the Buffalo Pond, then you get a ton of food. But in an average city, it's a very nice boost that's not completely broken. I really like this one. The design of this one is great. And then we have 2 unique units. We have Yellow Brow, which is a replacement for Tercio. Requires gunpowder. I'm checking if it's available earlier, but it's not. Tenacious Renaissance are a unit. Only the Shoshone may build it. Has the anti-cavalry promotions. Fights at full strength when damaged. That's pretty important part, and has double combat bonus from fortifying. That's also really good. Shoshone actually are like a very defensive civ. So you have these bonuses when you are in friendly territory. You have a bonus when you are fortified, but yeah, when used correctly with the first part of our unique ability, the spread of our territory, then, as I said, we can use all of these bonuses that we get inside of our territory offensively, which is what we're gonna try to do. And then we have Command Riders, replacement for cavalry, so these guys come into play quite late. Where is it? We need military science, so again, they don't come into play earlier than cavalry. The Command Rider is the unique unit of the Shoshone, may pillage tiles for free, which is nice. Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, it can heal you, of course, so we definitely want to focus on mounted ranged units. Has a chance to retreat when attacked via melee, so that's nice. Again, some extra survivability for the free pillaging and therefore healing, and the chance to retreat increases the survivability further. So yeah, I will have to check, actually compare their range strength to cavalry, see how much stronger they are. I'm actually not sure. I think cavalry might be 35. So if it's +7, then it's pretty good. Also, not sure about the movement, if they are faster, but I don't think so. So let's check that out. We want cavalry. Cavalry has... Oh, really? Is the strength 41? Oh, never mind then. And... Oh, but it has 4 movement. Okay, so that 1 extra movement means a lot. Yeah, it was weird that the only unique thing would be like +1 combat strength. That felt just like not enough. But extra movement is huge. Okay. So now we can check the starting locations. Number 1, this is probably the like the strongest one. I think I would move to one of these hills so that we get the hill river started. With how our borders are, with the fact that we get extra territory as we settle a city, I'm hoping we would get close to the lake that I would then buy, or maybe even get the lake right away, so that we would have a 3-1 tile right from the start. I'm even thinking if I would move to the hill, if that one extra production is worth the delay and worth that, if it would be better to maybe settle here so that both the T tiles would be in range. So I'd have to think about that a little bit. We can check the terrain around so that we know a little bit more about how the start looks like. Well, now the mountain looks a little bit better. This one, because from this one we wouldn't reach either of the T tiles. So from here we would have double firs in range. 1, 2, 3. We would have the wheat. We would have the lake. We would have 1 T. I'm actually curious. It seems that the firs may be our monopoly luxury. I thought it would be tea, but we could maybe even have 2 luxuries that we could get the monopoly on. That would be nice. Of course, monopoly on tea is huge. The 10% culture is one of the best ones. +6 happiness from firs. I mean, it's nice, but actually, it depends on the situation. Sometimes it might be actually the best thing that you can get. So both the monopolies are decent. Where do we move now? I'm not sure if I'm really gonna see anything if I move here. I'll just see. Okay, so there is some. That changes a lot as well. Suddenly, this might be an option. Because now we are this close to the sea, it always feels wrong to me settling a city 1 tile away from coast. When you are 1 tile away, then having the access to the sea is better. You want to move there. So which way would we move? We would probably move this way. This is actually a pretty difficult decision. We could sacrifice the river. Instead, settle on this hill, because that would be in range of the lake. I really would like to have a 3-1 tile in range. But we would also be out of range of the second first. We'll always be too far away from something. The question is, what do we want to move away from? Also, settling here means we're gonna settle 1 turn earlier than if we settle it here. Or would it be 1? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it would be 1 turn earlier. Okay, so this is the first start. About the settling, we can talk about in comments where it would be best to settle. But no matter what, this is probably the best start from the 3 that I've decided to show you. Then number 2, if I remember correctly, this one would be the most difficult one. Come on. Yeah, it looks good. When I saw it for the first time, I like knew that I'm gonna keep this one. Then I started checking it, and it's like deceptively bad. You don't have any 3 food tiles. You don't have, except for this one, a production tile with something on top of that. So the start will be quite slow here. We have some luxuries, 10% gold. This were probably not the save to benefit from 10% gold. I doubt we'll have monopoly on perils, but even if we do +2 fate, we wouldn't get that in time to really matter. If we want to check the terrain around, I guess I'm gonna move here. So long term, that's a lot of production. It's it should be quite easy to defend. And if there was actually a hill here, I would like to start a lot more. Actually, if it was a hill here, I would really like it, because then we would start on a hill in range of all the luxuries. That would be great. But we can't really even start on the hill. Once again, I want to start next to a coast here. This could be something, but it looks pretty exposed. And I hate having my capital on tiles that are easily, or that easy to take from the sea. We could check here if we're gonna see anything relevant. No. One, two, three, four. Yeah, this is out of range. It looks like these are sea tiles, and then the land tiles are here. Though not the best tile for the capital. As Shoshone, we can probably get away with that, because we'll have extra territory, so from here we should have the pearls and the silk right away. But working the silk right away sucks, right? There's no food on the tile. There's, like, overall there is nothing with food and production. To get food and production, we would probably have to settle like here and get these forests, or settle here. There is also a forest here. And of course there is the silk that is 212, which is the only decent tile here. So it looks really nice. I like the colors, everything. It looks so nice, but this is a difficult and slow start. So this is probably the most difficult one. And also, there are not that many tiles for the horses, cattle. Maybe there could be some sheep for one of the unique buildings. Okay, so that's number 2. And then number 3, so it should be somewhere in between. So, the biggest difference here compared to the first one is that the first one we have a luxury that needs a camp, and the other one that needs plantation. Here we have one that requires quarry, if I remember correctly, and the other one that requires mine. We will most likely have jade as our monopoly resource at the Golden Age points. Not that great for what I want to do. I would like to go domination, be very aggressive, so this is not super relevant. If somehow the monopoly luxury will be sold here, then that's a different story. Sold, if you can get that early enough, is huge and is pretty strong throughout the whole game. The important part here is that we have double wheat. I think I would settle on spot here. So we would be next to double wheat, so that super high priority would be getting early worker to get the farms and get early granary to get these 4-1 tiles. Then also we would want to get rid of this forest as soon as possible to get 5-1 tiles. This would be 4-1. These would be 5-1, and that would give us a pretty decent growth for a while. We would have okay production, although it would take a while for this production to fully kick in, because quarries take a while to get. But we can still work it for the production gold, so that's 4 gold here. That's decent amount. Let's have a look around. So let's move this way. There's nothing. And as much as I would like to see what's here, I'll get better vision from the hill. Where there's Ancient Ruin. Ancient Ruin sounds good. Okay, jungle. There is even a 3 food tile in range if we settle on the spot. And next turn we can grab the ruin. So actually with the ruin, this changes things. This is the best start. This is the strongest one, because we can grab a ruin on turn 2. Yeah, I had no idea that the ruin was there. And another thing is that this start is quite straight up. The first one, I have no idea where I would settle. Here I can just see where I settle, what I do right away. And the first one, I will have to decide the strategy based on where I decide to settle, what I prioritize. So this one is more straightforward and therefore easier. Yeah, I think we have everything covered, everything that you need to know. I talked about. So we can make a cut here, and I'll be looking forward to your votes. And once again, just if you want to talk a little bit more than just say, okay, go with number 2. I like reading all the comments, your reasoning, where you would settle, why you would take this or that starting location. So as I said, I'll be looking forward to all your comments. We are done with this episode. So I hope that you like my decision for this series, that you are not disappointed I didn't go with Spain. And yeah, I hope that you're going to join me for the next episode again. Until then, have a good time. Bye bye.